Hey there, this is Jaxie with the Systems Alliance, and in this video, we're going to go over the news that you may have heard about Battlefield 5 and their pre-order sales being 85% lower than Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and their pre-order sales. So a bit ago, Cowen & Company, who is supposed to track these things and analytics for companies to make sure that their stock prices are correctly valued and all this stuff, they're saying that EA's Battlefield 5 is in for some serious disappointment. It's lagging far behind Assassin's Creed, Red Dead Redemption 2, which is obviously no surprise because everyone wants that game, and Call of Duty as far as the pre-order sales go. And they're saying if they had to pick a game that's going to be released in October, which is super crowded, if they to pick a game that's going to be the fatality, the one that doesn't emerge as a bestseller, it's going to be Battlefield 5. Now, one can argue that EA may have picked a terrible date for Battlefield 5 to be released, given that it's literally the week after Call of Duty Black Ops 4 releases and the week before Red Dead Redemption 2 releases. So super crowded window, but obviously everyone has to get their game out either October or November so they can be ready for the holiday push. The analyst said pre-orders are tracking 85% lower than Call of Duty Black Ops 4 pre-order sales, which is substantially worse than previous instances of the game. Battlefield 3 and 4 lagged behind Call of Duty about 20 and 40% respectively, obviously much less than the 85% drop. And the most recent Battlefield 1 actually tracked ahead of Call of Duty at the same point. They say they're worried that it could end up as the next Titanfall 2, which at that point was released between Call of Duty and Battlefield, and basically its sales got crushed because there was so much going on at that time. But that really more points to the quality and or just the popularity of Titanfall versus other games. He then says that EA is predicting 13 to 14 million units sold for Battlefield 5, and he's thinking it may not be achievable with this current news. So the main thing that you might be thinking is, okay, well that makes sense. EA really screwed over with BioWare and the release of Mass Effect Andromeda. They obviously totally botched the release and game and everything with Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was a massive debacle for them. They're in the news constantly for their predatory practices and illegal gambling mechanisms in some countries, or just gambling mechanisms in another that probably should be illegal, especially when it comes to FIFA and everything with that. So you might be saying, hey, people are finally done. They're done with EA. They're done supporting a company like this. Well, they had a good run ripping consumers off, but it's finally over. But let's just hold off a little bit on that. So a journalist, Jeffrey Grubb, he took to Twitter to respond to this news, and he said the following. The weak pre-orders for Battlefield 5 came from Cowen. The Cowen & Company pre-order model uses the Amazon pre-order sales chart. There are no physical copies of Battlefield 5 that can be pre-ordered on Amazon. You can, however, pre-order physical copies of Call of Duty. So, okay, that to me says, well, obviously most of the pre-orders aren't going to be digital. What's the point of a digital pre-order where you can literally just sit at your home and click on your Xbox or PlayStation and pre-order it like the day before? Well, there's no point in that. The physical copy, however, you want delivered before everyone else is playing it, so you can have it ready to play when everyone else is playing it digitally. So obviously most of the pre-orders would be physical copies. These are also the big fans that are pre-ordering games, so of course they too would prefer a physical copy over something digital. He then goes on to say that Cowen switched from Amazon to GameStop earlier this year, but he's still skeptical of the model that they actually come up with to verify digital and physical pre-orders of the game. So while I have no doubt that the Battlefield pre-orders might be below the Call of Duty pre-orders, given the marketing campaign kind of has, sucked, and everyone is still mad at EA, and even though they had some good news about not ripping players off in this Battlefield game, they didn't even address that in a way where everything has still been a little muddied on that front, because people still don't trust EA, so you think they still might go back on their word or something like that, or they're going to leave features out, whatever it is. That being said, Call of Duty did always have a bigger fan base, but people are pretty pissed off at Activision and Call of Duty right now too, with them leaving the single player campaign out of Call of Duty. So while I doubt that final sales figures are going to be be 85% lower. It wouldn't surprise me if they were similar to how it played out in the past, where they might be 40% lower. But still, I think the fact that Cowen is using figures that may not be entirely accurate, especially since, hey, Amazon right now is the #1 place for ordering everything. So obviously a lot of people will want to order their stuff on Amazon. They probably have Amazon Prime. They probably have the Amazon Prime credit card. And if you have the Amazon Prime credit card, you get a lot of money back on that thing when you purchase through Amazon. And people are so in love with Amazon and hate places like GameStop, which was voted one of the worst companies in America on the same list that EA and Bank of America and Wells Fargo are on. Obviously, people would much rather do business with a company they love like Amazon than one they don't like a GameStop. So I would take any numbers you hear about this with a grain of salt until we see the actual numbers come out, until EA releases the actual sales figures, which if it does pretty well, I am sure they will do. If it doesn't do great, like say Mass Effect Andromeda, they may not release those exact sales figures. Either way though, this doesn't surprise me because a lot of analysts who try and track the financials for video game companies still quite aren't into video games enough to know exactly how they're tracked. I wish they were tracked better, like Hollywood does with the box office and everything like that. It'll go right to the very last dollar that a movie took in, or at least until it pretty much died off into nothing before they took it out of circulation. But video games, for whatever reason, don't have that. Unless a publisher actually releases the actual sales figures of the game, we never really know, because the best we have is tracking physical copies, which can, one, go on for a really long time, people buying the game. I mean, look how popular the new Nintendo is, which is really the old Nintendo. But unlike a movie stops its run. A video game, you can buy that thing forever, especially on Amazon. And those sales won't even be tracked physically after that many years. But then go to digital, and digital is huge nowadays. I mean, sure, it'll take up a ton of gig on your hard drive, but if you have the space, it's so much easier. Just the fact that you don't even have to get up and put the game physically in your console or in your PC is huge. You're sitting down on the couch. Oh, I'm all comfortable. Oh, right, I want to play this game. Click, it's there. It's the reason why Netflix is popular. It's why people don't buy DVDs or Blu-rays anymore. It's all digital and it's so much easier. And the fact that we're not counting any of those sales, where in some games, it's literally the majority of the sales. You look at a game like Fortnite, there's hardly anyone who owns physical copies of that. It's a free game, just download it. That's what people do. So the only time we get real sales figures is when the company actually releases it, when Epic Games releases those sales figures. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think that Battlefield will end up selling something like 85% below what Call of Duty sells? Do you think this is all fake news and that they don't know how to track the analytics and that they're totally off and all of that? Are you looking more forward to Battlefield 5 than you are Call of Duty? I know me personally, I am, because I like a single player campaign and Call of Duty took theirs out. So, do you think just because it's EA, they deserve to have 85% less sales? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, share it, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.